Hello, and welcome. This is that cozy time of year, and I'm going to show you how I bring in one of the coziest stories, The Snowy Day by Ezra Jack Keats, into the elementary music classroom. Let's go ahead and jump right in, because in this one lesson, I'm going to show you how I bring in solfege, some rhythms, have a snowball fight, and get my students listening for some meaningful articulation along the way. The first things first, my students are only going to need do, re, mi, sol, and la for this lesson, and for this, might as well go ahead and give those cozy vibes and have them add in some marshmallows to the hot chocolate. It's fun, it's easy. If you have a smart board, your students love it, but I've also found that when I didn't have a smart board and I only had a projector, this also made it so wonderful and so interactive. My students didn't care if they were going up to tap a board or coming back to my laptop to tap it there. They didn't care, they just wanted to tap something. From there, we make it a little bit more of a challenge by taking away the ones that come before and the ones that come after, and challenging our students not only with the color and the name of it, but also the Kerwin hand signs. And starting off by just having it go in order before mixing them all up to give them a little bit more of a challenge. As we all know, it is key to do repetition for all of these. Now, if you've never read the story, The Snowy Day, all you need to know is that one day a little boy named Peter wakes up and it has snowed outside. And these are his adventures. He is going to crunch through the snow. He's going to glide through the snow. Perfect for talking about articulation with our students. Yes. He's going to see a bunch of big kids having a snowball fight and immediately realize, ooh, that's not for him. And so much more along the way. So I read a little bit of the story, and then I have my students add in some snowy solfege, which is just the ones that we worked on at the very beginning of the class. Now we can do this as a group together, or what I also love is I have made this into a digital and a printable assessment. So this can be something that your students do towards the end of class, but they're dragging in the solfege that is right for each of the notes. And as always, I make it so that the only thing that your students can touch are the things that you want them to touch on these digital assessments, or you are simply using the printable assessment at the end. Now, after adding in all the solfege, singing it a couple times, practicing those Kerwin hand signs, maybe you're taking the time to talk about the difference between the tas we see, the half note tas that we see, but really that's it. Keeping it very simple for these students. I'm saying this could be used for kindergarten depending on how much solfege they know, all the way through third grade, before continuing on with the story. Now again, I've already showed you how you're going to be able to collect some quick and easy data using this lesson, but really this time of the year, that's only one of the things we want. Yes, we want the data, also want this to be as little to no prep lessons as possible, but we also want to get our students moving, because this is where they tend to have a lot of pent-up energy, so why not incorporate that into the lesson naturally, so there's nothing extra you have to be thinking of. Click the snowflake and crunch the snow like Peter. So you go ahead and click the snowflake to hear a short section that is obviously going to be very staccato for our students to be crunching the snow like Peter. And getting your students up and moving in a very easy, absolute no-brainer way. Then you read a little bit more where instead of crunching through the snow, Peter is now dragging his feet through the snow and seeing the marks that come as a result of that. So you go over here and you click this snowflake, which is going to give you a more legato part from, again, the Nutcracker. Another simple way to bring in some articulation practice, even if your students don't know the terms legato and staccato, you can get them feeling it in their bodies. This lesson is part of the 12 days of movement, where you not only grab all of these 12 lessons that include digital and printable assessments, movement breaks throughout, and are also connected to this YouTube channel where I have rhythm play-alongs and scarf dancing movement breaks that go along with each of Tchaikovsky's The Nutcracker songs. Starting all the way at the beginning with Overture and Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies, and we're going all the way until this coming Friday where the finale will be up. So as always, make sure you are liking, subscribing, and following along, because we are not done yet. Continuing on, so far in this story, we've already gotten our student practicing solfege. We've already given them a quick assessment on staccato versus legato. You even get to have them go from legato to staccato. Take a listen. Starts very legato, having them glide through it before it changes. Having them tiptoeing, crunching, whatever it is, moving in a way that is very staccato. And then walking them through it. When you see this sign, make your singing voice sound like when Peter's gliding through the snow. But when you see this sign, make your singing voice sound like when Peter is crunching through the snow. And then taking the same song that we just did, but adding in the legato versus the staccato markings, so that our students know when they're going to be going, snowy, snowy, snowy day. day. First is crunching, crunching on the ground, so on and so forth. Now, in the next part of the story, there is a snowball fight. Now, again, because this is only kindergarten through probably second grade, we want to keep the rhythms very simple. I do have another lesson that already has a walkthrough that goes through 6/8 meter and the rhythms that accompany it, and there is a snowball fight for that one as well, but that really is for the older students versus just some tas and titis that is great for the youngers. Now, there's a bunch of different ways that you can do this, but when it's time for a snowball fight, you complete the rhythms before the snowball hits. So your students need to go ta, 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 ta before the snowball hits. Now, again, a bunch of different ways to do this. You can divide your class in teams, and they have a virtual snowball fight where each will try to complete the rhythm before the snowball hits. You have them simply do it from wherever they are and just sitting. You have them completing the printable or digital assessment that comes with this. Or for the ones that are really, really brave, you go ahead and you take these slides right here, 56 through 58. You print out these snowballs, you cut them out, and you have a snowball fight in the classroom. Now, I have had great success in classrooms that can meet my high expectations, meaning they know how to keep this from escalating from fun chaos to just chaos. But what you would do is you would cut each of these snowballs out, roll them up into teeny tiny balls, and they can have a snowball fight. What I do is I play some of Tchaikovsky in the background, and if I pause the music, my students know that they each grab 2 to 3 snowballs, they go back to their desk, and they write in these assessments. A simple way for me to grab the data that I need while they have the absolute time of their lives. Or again, your students are just sitting at their desk and they're completing these rhythms before the snowball hits. So maybe you're setting a 10-second timer, or if your students need it, you're setting 30 seconds, a minute long. It really doesn't matter. You continue on with the story, but this time what's happened is Peter goes home and he brought a snowball with him. And he took so much time to pack and make sure that the snowball was going to be safe and snug in his jacket pocket. But obviously you can guess what's going to happen to that snowball. It's not going to last inside very long. So we take the poem by Shel Silverstein and we add in some snowball steady beats and a couple of quarter rests along the way. Tap each snowball's steady beat even when there are rests, but on the rests don't make a sound. And what I do with my students is I have them clap on the snowballs, but then they go to clap on the rests, but they don't. I made myself a snowball so that they're still feeling that rhythm, but they're also practicing what a rest means. As perfect as could be, I thought I'd keep it as a pet and let it sleep with me. So on and so forth. If you know this poem, oh, it's so fun. Oh, it's so simple. I made it some pajamas. I added the little pajamas. A pillow for its head, but then last night it ran away. But first it wet the bed. My students find it absolutely hysterical. I hope yours do too. And then you finish up the story. Now the rhythm play along that I just made for this lesson plan is going to have your students going through a snowy adventure with the snow first just covering everything. Your students then having to complete the rhythms to gather their coat, hat, scarf, and mittens, tiptoeing through the snow versus stomping through the snow, making a snowman, and just having an overall amazing time while completing the rhythms. And that goes with the song The Christmas Tree from, again, The Nutcracker. That, along with the scarf dance to the same song, will be posted on my YouTube channel and would be a great, fun, energetic cool down for the end of the lesson, or simply have your students finish the printable or digital assessments that accompany this. As always, these lessons are meant to give you the data that you need, give your students the movement that they need, and ensure that it is simple to use, absolutely no prep for this crazy time of the year. So make sure you grab your 2 free months of the Soaring Scribes Academy, including these 12 lessons that are waiting and ready for you to use. Thank you so much for joining me, and happy playing.